And now, for a moment of clarity.
The governor has launched a website called California Fire Facts. He wants to address what he calls the myths and disinformation. There's an awful lot of it out there. But, you know, is the genie out of the bottle? And how do you see this dynamic between Newsom and Trump playing out?
Well, as we've seen with every national emergency, whether it's health or environmental emergencies, Donald Trump plays to the cheap seats. It is easy to sit back and beat his chest and blame others. And so that's one level of fuel on the fire. And then the next is, of course, the lies and the disinformation and the misinformation about the effort on the ground, whether it involves resources from FEMA during hurricane season or other national events, or in this case, you know, what California is doing, what they have done, what they haven't done relative to putting the fires out. Donald Trump has not been helpful. That's the bottom line. Let's just put that on the table and put an exclamation point on it. He has not been helpful. So the fact that he's now been extended an invitation as president to come and see firsthand what's happened and what's going on, maybe this will be a way to change some of the narratives around this. I doubt it, because as you noted, the genie is out of the bottle. The lies and the abuse of information is already baked in. And so people are going to believe what they want to believe about what Gavin Newsom as governor has done or failed to do, what Mayor Bass has done or failed to do. And that's just something that everyone is going to have to live with as, A, the fires get put out, and B, restoration occurs. So Donald Trump now, January 20th at 12:01, California is your problem, too. You can't blame it on Joe Biden. You can't blame it on Gavin Newsom. You have to roll up your sleeves and decide whether or not you're going to help the most populous state in the country.
Well, he has, as we've pointed out, blamed it on Gavin Newsom, blamed it on Joe Biden. And you mentioned the L.A. Mayor, Karen Bass. She's been criticized for being in Ghana when the wildfires broke out. And the New York Times points out that prior to her election, she said, I'm not going to travel internationally. But the Times says that pledge has been, this is their words, spectacularly broken. But when you add all these things together, how big of a problem could this create politically for Democrats generally? The overall messaging, right, from Donald Trump and his supporters is they're incompetent.
Well, I mean, that's just bogus. I'm not going to give license to that thinking. That's just bogus. That's a lie. I mean, you look at everything that has been put on the table, has been shown to be a lie, has been refuted, has been clarified. You know, the mayor's travel is the mayor's travel. She has to deal with that. I refer to it as the Marion Barry problem. You know, when we had a big winter storm here, Marion Barry was you know, wanted to go to the Super Bowl. And guess what? Got to come back home and take care of business. And you pay a political price in those instances. And the political leadership will at some point. But this is not the time for that. And I think that's important for us to understand. This is not the time for political recriminations and retribution and blaming. The leadership on the ground have got to get this under control. Everyone in this country in political office that have an opportunity to help them, whether they're governors or president, should step up. A lot of governors, a lot of states have. They're not sitting there blaming Gavin Newsom for the fire or the fact that fire hydrants for a whole host of reasons don't have water in them. They're saying, how can I help? That's what Donald Trump needs to learn. That's what Donald Trump needs to do. Shut the hell up on the conspiracies and the bull and ask Gavin Newsom, how can I help? For once in your life, show leadership instead of petty politics. That's what the people of California expect. And just as importantly, Chris, that's what the American people expect. We've done this movie before. We don't need a repeat of it. We lived through COVID. We know what that's like when you don't pay attention to the problem at hand and want to play politics with it. People die. Things don't get solved. So I'm hoping this iteration of this Trump 2.0, whatever that's supposed to be, that whatever it is, it involves actual leadership at a time of crisis.
Catch Michael Steele on The Weekend, Saturdays and Sundays, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. on MSNBC.